let's continue with some more fun chain rule problems. So example 3, part A and B. I got this from your homework. Looks really fun, so I want you to do this. Now, when you see dx, when you see this notation, you know what that means. You are taking the derivative of, like for example, an expression. I'm just making it up. You're taking the derivative of this expression in terms of x, right? So if this is y, we can write this as dy dx, and we're just finding the derivative of y with respect to x. So do not freak out if you see a couple new notations, but well, same notation with different letters. So take a look at this for me. They have different functions given to us. They have a y equals u to the fourth power, not x to the fourth power, but u to the fourth power. And then they tell you, but u is this. U is this. Okay? So what they are saying is this. Instead of y equals u to the fourth power, I can substitute this function into u and say 5x to the third power minus 2x squared. That is getting raised to the fourth power. So you see, they broke down this composition of functions into two pieces. They first told you what u is. They told you what y is in terms of u. And then the second function, they told you exactly what u is. So if you want to find the derivative of this, how about we do that first, and then we play with these different looking pieces, okay? What this example is doing is we're breaking the chain rule down, and why we're trying to see why chain rule is multiplying the derivative of the outside by the derivative of the inside function. So let's actually do this problem using straight up chain rule. So let me go ahead and write down the y equals parenthesis 5x to the third power minus 2x squared, and that's getting raised to the fourth power. This is just some extra. Let's find y prime, or how about I call this as dy dx. It's the same thing, right? Let's find the derivative of y with respect to x. So what I'm doing is I'm finding the derivative of this expression, right? Let's find what it is. So what do you do with that 4? I'm just gonna go ahead and bring that down to the front and have it as 4 parenthesis 5x to the third power minus 2x squared. Keep the inside exactly the same, but this 4 will now go down to 3, right? But that's not it. That's not it. Remember, when we do chain rule, we now need to multiply this by the derivative of the inside part. So what is derivative of 5x cubed minus 2x squared? That is 15x squared minus 4x. Okay? So this is what dy dx is. We can simplify this. I don't think we really should be able to. We shouldn't. We don't have to worry about simplifying this. This is it. But what do they want? So this is how I would just use the chain rule. First find the derivative of the outside function, and we will multiply this by the derivative of the inside function. But I like how they break this into different pieces. So take a look. They want us to find the following. Okay, so first is dy dx. So what we are doing is we're finding the derivative of, it's not dy dx, it's dy du. So first, bring this y down for me, like this. And let's talk about what this is. We're finding the derivative of y with respect to u. Okay, so du of, let's put u in here. Let's put y in here. What's y? Y is u to the fourth power. So put that in here, u to the fourth power. And they're asking us to find the derivative of this with respect to u. And that's super easy, isn't it? Let's use the power rule. It's going to be 4 u to the third power. That's how we find dy du. Okay, so we keep it there. Next, what do they want? They want you to find du dx. Okay, so du dx, I'm going to go ahead and just bring down this u and make it clear to you that we're finding the derivative of u with respect to x. So let's plug in what u is. Okay, u is this expression. So I stick that in here, 5x to the third power minus 2x squared. And what this is saying is, hey, just take the derivative with respect to x. And let's do that. Derivative of 5x cubed is 15x squared. Derivative of negative 2x squared is negative 4x to the first power. So this is it. I will underline this in red, and I will underline the first part in black. Okay, now finally, they want you to find dy dx. Now I'm going to go ahead and write down something, and I want you to see if that makes sense, okay? dy dx is same thing as dy du times du dx. If you're wondering, where did you get those two from? I'm just multiplying this times this. Why? Look, what will happen? The du's will cancel out, and that will just give us dy dx. Makes sense, right? So what we are going to do is we're going to use the pieces that we already found, and simply write that dy dx is equal to dy du times du dx. Okay, so let me go back a couple steps, cross out those oranges, and say that this is equal to dy du, which is 4u to the third power, times, and we're multiplying this by du dx, which is 15x squared minus 4x. And all you now need to do is plug in what u is. So keep the 4, but what was u? Didn't they tell you that u is 5x cubed minus 2x squared? So all I did is I'm just going to replace what u is with this and keep the rest of them exactly the same. And what I will do is I will go and compare this answer to what we got by doing the chain rule straightforward. All right, hold on. Let's see. Are they the same? This expression and that answer. We have the 4. We have the 5x cubed minus 2x squared getting raised to the third power. And we're multiplying that by the derivative of the inside part. They're the same thing. So you may ask, why do we need to break this down into du, dx, and all that? Well, I wouldn't. If I were you, I'm doing your homework. If I'm doing homework, and if it's a chain rule problem, I'll just do it the straight up chain rule method. But just want to show you this is where it came from. If you're wondering, why are we multiplying the outside derivative of the outside by the derivative of the inside? It's because dy dx is equal to dy du times du dx. That's why we do this multiplication. That's why if you just take the derivative of the outside function and stop there, that's not going to be the complete answer. Let's try one more. Okay, let's try one more. So here, they want you to find, I'm just going to jump right into this problem, dy du. So I will go ahead and bring the y down next to this fraction and read this. What do they want us to find? They want us to find the derivative of y with respect to u. So let's plug in what y is. d du of y. What's y? Oh, y is square root of u. Can I go ahead and write this as u to the 1/2 power? We know that, right? We talked about this in class a couple times. Square root of u can be written as u to the 1/2 power. And now we simply take the derivative of this. Using the chain rule, the power rule, half comes down to the front, and the new power is going to be 1 less than half. 1 less than half is negative half. So we got dy du. Let's move on to the next one. I need to this time bring down the u and find derivative of u with respect to x. So let's plug in what u is this time. What's u? Look at that. They said u is x squared plus 4. And let's take the derivative of this. Derivative of x squared is 2x. Derivative of 4 is just 0, so I don't have to put that down. So we got that. And finally, when they ask you for dy dx, you know how to do this. We're going to multiply the answer from the top and the answer from the second part. So if you do dy over du times du over dx, what will happen? If you want to believe this is true, the du's will cancel out, right? Leaving us only with dy over dx, and that's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and plug in all the pieces that we found. On top, we found dy du is half times u to the negative 1/2 power. I'm going to multiply this by what du dx is. So du dx is 2x. Now we're done, but let us now plug in what u is in here. Remember, u is x squared plus 4. So our final answer, kind of getting close there. Instead of u, let me put x squared plus 4 to the negative 1/2 power times 2x. I wouldn't stop here. We can simplify this a little further, okay? I want you to look at this for me. Do you see there's a half? And do you see there is 2? So what's half of 2? It's just going to be 1. So half and 2 will cancel out, leaving us with just 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the x all alone on top of the fraction. X is all alone on top of the fraction. Because what will happen to this? You notice that this one has a negative exponent. So we're going to send it to the bottom. I'm going to send it to the bottom. And when I send it to the bottom, why not? Let's put it back in a square root format. Okay? Because raising something to the 1/2 power is same as taking square root of it, right? So this is how you can simplify your answer all the way. But that is also a correct answer, just not reduced or simplified all the way. At least multiply half times 2 and just have 1x instead of half and 2, okay? So that's it for this video. If you see homework problems like this, and if you want me to go over that one with you, just write me an email, click on that, and I talk about that in class together. There should be like a help me button that you can click, and there's an email my instructor. I like doing these problems for you. So that's it for this one. I will be back to go over example 4 in my next video.